What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, we're going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market and why tomorrow is going to be an absolutely massive day as we have the FOMC meeting coming up. So I'm going to break down how that could affect the markets, what you should be watching for, why the market is pumping as of right now at the time I'm recording this, what you should watch for going into tomorrow, and how it could affect NIO's share price. But before I break anything down about that though, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 to the account, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks, and 5 out of those 7 free stocks could be a free NIO share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 10 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So NIO's up over 6% at the time I'm recording this. Once again, it's continuing to pump, and I told you all yesterday that NIO would most likely test the $9 level of resistance. I told you that if NIO broke 9, you have to watch the 9.3 range, and that is where NIO actually has been topping as of right now. But it does look like it has a lot of momentum still based off our MACD and the RSI. I still think NIO has a lot of momentum, and we could be forming a bullish triangle right here if we continue to pump by the time we close. I am recording this intraday, by the way, and this is actually happening because I will be kind of busy later on today, so I just wanted to record this as soon as possible, and I'm actually recording this very close to close, maybe like 20 minutes before close, and still NIO is holding up quite nicely. So the real question is, what's going to happen to the markets? Is the market going to get a big rally? Is the market going to crash? Well, let me just break down what's going on first. To start us off, we have the FOMC meeting tomorrow. First, the rate hike decision is going to come out. This is going to come out at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. When this comes out, expect crazy volatility in the stock market. The market might just tank, it might push up, it may just jump back and forth for about 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes after the decision comes out, whether it's 25 basis points, a pause, or 50, the odds are favoring 25, by the way. But then 30 minutes after the decision comes out, we're going to see the FOMC meeting starting, the really, really big press conference. This is going to be massive at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're ready for this, because the Fed is going to be making some big announcements about what they're doing with monetary policy, what their plan is when it comes to the rate hikes. It's going to be huge. What else is worth noting is part of the reason why the market's rallying is the Fed, they actually increased their balance sheet by about $300 billion. And in doing so, it's causing a lot of banks to actually, celebrate. They're getting a lot more support from the Fed, and it's continuing, to follow this trend as this is actually helping the market artificially pump. On top of that, people are becoming very bullish. They're getting very excited, but I wouldn't necessarily pick any side. I'm not really way too bullish or way too bearish. I'm just going to wait and see how the market responds to the data that's coming out. Now, when it comes to the meeting, once again, 50 basis points is most likely what we're going to get. I said this many times. They're most likely going to give us 25 basis points, not 50, because, excuse me, sorry guys, because of the fact that they're actually printing a lot more money. When the Fed started printing a lot more money, like $300 billion, they're actually easing a little bit. They are transitioning to quantitative easing just a little bit, and this could just be a temporary thing. Now, if that's the case, the Fed still has to tighten simultaneously because they know that there's an increased risk of inflation again if they're going to be printing out hundreds of billions of dollars again. And what that means is now that the Fed is doing that, they have to counteract this. So I think it's very unlikely they're going to actually pause. I think it's unlikely they're going to give us 50 basis points. I think the odds are favoring a 25 basis point rate hike because inflation is still hot and there is still lots of work to be done. Now, when it comes to NIO, we have some good news that came out. Firstly, we're getting a lot of volume, lots of buying pressure. I'm actually recording this near close, and so far we're at about, I think, like 46 plus million in volume. That's above average, which shows that there is lots of buying pressure. If you actually look at the short volume, it's also decreasing at this time, and we are getting lots of buy orders, lots of call buying on NIO. And as this is all happening, we're continuing to see people continue to buy in. Now, the price pairs ratio came to an extreme low. This is an extremity, and it actually started bouncing off here, which is once again a bullish signal. From now on, like, look, technicals are looking like more bullish, but we are seeing more shorts piling in. We saw a few million shorts pile in just a few days ago. So we have some mixed data, but overall, NIO is right now favoring the bulls. I'm also saying this after the big update that came out yesterday about the third generation battery swap station, which is actually going to help increase their capacities and NIO's efficiency when it comes to swapping batteries in a much quicker period of time. But here's the problem. Is this rally awesome? Yes, this is incredible. And as of right now, it looks bullish. It looks like NIO is going to try to keep going. But I don't want to be fixated on being a bull or a bear because everything will depend on the FOMC meeting. The Fed is going to be making some big announcements. The market's going to be looking for a pause. Is the Fed going to pause? Will they announce a pause? That's very possible. They might just do that. But I don't think they're going to pause on this one. So I have to see how the market reacts to a 25 basis point rate hike, which is going to come out at about 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time once again. I don't know how the market will react. It shouldn't be too bad because the market is expecting that, at least to some degree. But what's going to be more important would be the press conference meeting afterwards at 1:30 p.m. Because if the Fed announces that they plan on, like, pausing during the next meeting, or they plan on pausing in the future, or they give some hints towards that, that could help the market. If the Fed says something like, oh, they're printing money just temporarily and they're going to have to continue to tighten, there are going to be more rate hikes, their GDP forecast changes, hinting at a recession. If they start to do things like that, that could be even worse. And the biggest thing, or one of the other bigger things, will be what their terminal rate is expected to be. Are they going to adjust it? Are they going to decrease it or increase it? Are they going to ultimately give us a 6% Fed funds rate, or is it going to be higher or lower? We don't truly know just yet what they're going to do with the new adjustments. It was easier to predict this before the whole banking collapse situation, and now it's becoming more difficult. And that's why it's going to be very, very capricious. In my opinion, I think NIO and the market are going to continue to rally into the early hours tomorrow. And I believe as we get closer to the rate hike decision, a few hours into the open, the market should be up and pumping. But I don't know what's going to happen from there on. I don't know if the market's going to start crashing or not. Anything could really happen, and that's why you need to be prepared for that. On SPY, don't forget that we do have a possible head and shoulders that's developing. It is possible. It could look something like this, right? Just like this. We could have a slightly slanted like neckline area, which tells me that if this is going to form, SPY could keep going all the way up to like 407. I don't really know about that. We have to break 400 first. 400 to 401 is going to be very important. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. I don't know if the Fed will cause a temporary pump like the last time we were in this like pump range, or like even like this time right here. But if it is forming a giant head and shoulders, what's going to happen later on? Going into April, I'd be expecting a lot of downside and for us to retest and break the lows way down here. I'm going to be watching the weekly 200 EMA, of course. If we break that, which is around like 360, we're most likely going to break October lows and go all the way down below 340 if it ends up breaking this line in the future. Now, for NIO, what levels should we be watching? If you're bullish on NIO, you have to watch a break of 9.37. And if she breaks 9.37, the next important level is about 9.7 flat. All right, so make sure you remember 9.7. If we break 9.37, we could actually go all the way up to about 9.7. And if that level, breaks, then the next resistance is going to be 9.9 to about $10. Right? We have some major resistance right there. We have a supply zone. There may be a lot of sellers and shorts lurking around these higher areas. Now, if you're bearish on NIO, let's just say hypothetically the market starts crashing thanks to the Fed, you have to watch NIO come down to gap support around $9. If that fails, it's going to come all the way down to about 8.75. And if that fails, then we have I think this is 8.33, followed by $8 flat. So make sure you watch all these support zones just in case. What do I think is going to happen? My best guess would be we once again continue to rally as we approach the rate hike decision. Then we're going to react depending on what it is. I think we're most likely going to get 25 basis points, so I don't think the market will tank immediately. But then the meeting itself is going to be the big event, and that's going to move everything like crazy. Everything is going to move from NIO to Tesla to Amazon to Spot, everything. It's going to depend heavily on what Jerome Powell says. So please make sure you're ready, make sure you're prepared. Thank you all so much for listening. Get ready for tomorrow. Huge day ahead of us. I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, and peace out.